Hello guys, my name is Larissa Barraza and I will be talking to you about peer relationships in middle childhood. So I titled my presentation Friends, Play, and Peer Relationships because I will cover each of those categories. So I would like for all of you to stop and think for a little about the following questions. How many friends did you have as a child? Who were your close friends? Where did you meet your friends? And who was that popular kid? So, speaking for myself, I can say I had maybe like 5 friends. I had one close friend or two. I met my friends at school when I was in elementary, and the popular kid was some other girl who was not, I mean, we would get along, but she wasn't in my friend zone. We'll also talk about school age peer relationships. So what this focuses on is similarity in age, similarity in gender, and of course similarity in social status. School age children behaviors in peer group is proven to be stable in indicator to their social competence. So social competence is defined as the ability to interact effectively with others. Furthermore, children's concern about acceptance in the peer group often rises during middle childhood. Peer acceptance. One of the most important aspects of peer relations in middle childhood is peer acceptance or the status with the peer group. Um, a popular child is one who is named most often by the peers in the same group as the individual they liked. A rejected child is named by the peers in the group as the person they dislike. A neglected child is the child that tends to show less social interaction and disruptive behavior but more withdrawal than average children. A controversial child is a child that tends to be less compliant and more aggressive than an average child. So a popular child characteristic is good communication skills with peers. So she or he will show enthusiasm and concern for others, self-confidence, and draw other people towards them. In many cases, adolescents who are very attractive and are very intelligent tend to be popular. Adolescents from middle-class families tend to also be popular. Neglected children, professionals who have noted that the best way to help them develop is to teach them how to be noticed within their peers. Rejected children tend to have more serious problems later in life. They more often than neglected children, excuse me, school dropout, they become school dropout, delinquency, and aggression. 10% of these adolescents tend to be shy and withdrawn. The best way to help these children is to develop their listening skills as to what others are saying about them. Controversial children, or girls in the group, were found to have increased risk of becoming teen mothers. So on controversial children, we're going to focus on the females. um, the other is they will be aggressive girls who are also found to be more likely to be teen mothers in the future. Building friendships. Friendships influences children's development in many different ways, such as friends provide information about the world and others. Friends provide emotional support and help handle stress. Friends teach children how to manage and control their emotions. Friends foster intellectual growth, and they allow children to practice relationship skills. So if you do have children or you have smaller siblings, you can relate that all these categories do apply as to how he or she is developing their friendship skills either at daycare or school or even simply with a neighbor. Peer relations. A peer group, we're going to focus on the definition of the peer group, which is a collectives that generate unique values and standards for behavior and social structure of leaders and followers. So this relates to gender, ethnicity, academic achievement, popularity, aggression, and proximity. Children who deviate from group codes of dress and behavior are often excluded. The customs of the group blind with children together, creating group identity. School age peer relations. Um, these are children who deviate from group codes behavior and often communal needs, interpersonal needs for affection, nutrients, enjoyment, support, companionship, intimacy, and sexual fulfillment. So I am sorry, I will go through each one. So communal needs, survival needs, and agentic needs. Survival needs is the physical need for safety, food, shelter, and health. A genetic need, individual needs for competency, achievement, status, power, approval, autonomy, identity, and self-esteem as well. Influence of peer during middle childhood. This is categorized into two, which is socialization influence and difference relating to parent versus peers. So I will go through socialization influence. Basically, it's increasing importance of peers through expert pressure to conform and broaden children. Different relating to parent versus peers is to learn appropriate emotional responses. Peers may serve as a sounding board. Peers provide a real world practice. So when two children are in a friendship, they are more likely to learn from each other than from a parent. Even though a parent is a huge influence in a child's life, it is just that two children around the same age will definitely impact each other a little bit more than what a grown-up can really do or really show a child. Friendship understanding. Middle childhood is a time of intense growth and adventurism play. They are experiencing rapid development, both physically and mentally. Their decision-making skills are improving, and peer pressure becomes a significant factor in their injury risk. In middle children begin to recognize that friendship can last over time. These are within ages of 8 through 10, and they are referred to as chums. So I will define what chums is. Chums comes from the word chumships. The reciprocal relationships with school-age children sharing secrets and trusting each other not to reveal them. School-age chums usually indicate an increasing appreciation for each other's feelings and intentions. So this is where the relationship becomes to get a little bit more intimate. This is where the children will start to share secrets. The pinky promises come in, the friendship bracelets come in, the trust is powerful at this stage. Friendship stages. So I will go into detail within these four. Friendship stages in middle childhood. Children have been found to parallel the stages of social understanding. Children who are social, informational perspective takers, and unilateral negotiators will likely think of friendship as a one-way. One-way meaning that is, they may think about what a friend could do for them or what they could do. So vice versa. So what a friend could do and what the friend can do for them, but not on what they can do for each other. So obviously, how it is mentioned, it is a one-way. Normative friendships in which they recognize that friendships are supposed to be loyal to each other. So that is by ages 10, 11, most school-age children demonstrate the normative friendship. By the end of middle childhood, most children are capable of mutual role-taking and collaborative negotiation. This is the empathetic stage. So the empathetic stage, they expect each other to provide companionship, help, protection, and support, making active attempts to support each other. So the children, the friendship will definitely begin to form and get stronger, and this is how they will start to understand where it is that their friendship stands, and what they will ask from each other depends on what their friendship stage really is. Comparing friendships and peer relations. So I will go over the stages. So it's stage 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, peer relationships and friendships. So it's kind of just like cross comparing. These maturing notations of friendship translate into social interaction with peers during middle childhood. And here is where peer acceptance influences school-age friendships, as they are obviously seen above. So for example, for peer relationships, we have physical connections, lateral relations, bilateral partnership, homogeneous community, and pluralistic organization. For friendship, we have momentary physical interactions, the one-way assistance, the fair weather cooperation, the intimate and mutual sharing, and the autonomous interdependence, excuse me. So close friendship. Close friendships are defined as emotionally close, but also have a mutual impact on each other. Closeness seems to be more important to girls than boys, as you can see if you are an educator or will be going into education. You will see the stage where little girls form their clique, or they hug each other, they hold hands, because they feel of a more close relationship than what middle-aged boys would. So closeness between friends is commonly measured as the frequency of social interaction, the diversity of social interactions, and the influence of social interactions. So children do kind of seek for these interactions and type of individuals as friends, and that's how they start forming the best friend bond. Developmental stages. Um, this becomes especially important in peers interchanges, as children move through middle age and late children, and the amount of time spent in social interaction with peers increases. Middle-aged children spend increasing time in peer interactions. So, for example, an average time would be 40% of the time with peer. They spent their time with peers through ages 7 through 11. Excuse me. The size of their peer group also begins to increase. So they might start off with maybe 1 or 2 friends. They will start increasing to maybe 5, 6. Peer interaction is less closely supervised by adults, because they know who their child's friends are, and it isn't until age 12 where the same sex peer groups are preferred. So girls will stick to girls, boys will stick to boys. That's where this cootie stage comes in. They really don't interact much with each other, or if they do, they just keep their group or friendship cliques kind of separated until the age of 12, where they do start to interact with each other. Developmental changes. So I will continue on that topic. Children spend an increasing amount of time in peer interaction during middle child and late childhood through adolescence. Gender influences the composition and size of children's interaction, with girls' group being smaller and more intimate. Boys are more likely to engage in rough and tumble play, competitions, conflict, ego displays, risk-taking, and dominance seeking, while girls are more likely to engage in collaborative discourse. So, if you take a look into the two different types of groups, the females versus the males technically, you will pinpoint these kind of activities out. You'd see that your girls are sitting down, playing kindly, softly. They're more engaging as to where the boys are engaging, but they are engaging in boy stuff. So horse playing, tumbling, risk taking. So that is where they start developing their own characteristics or changes. Middle childhood is divided into emotional development and social development. Emotional development is where the child achieves greater independence and more distinct personality. Fears are replaced by the ability to cope. Social development changes from activities by themselves to more group-oriented. They are more ready to accept the opinions of others and learn to conform to rules and standards of behavior. Needs are the same as infancy and early childhood, along with the needs of reassurance, parental approval, and of course peer acceptance. Peer networks. I will define what a clique is. For most of us, maybe we don't know what a clique is, or we might have a different definition as to what it means. So a clique is a small group of close friends. Generally, girl friendships network are smaller, so that is known as an intensive, versus the boys who are an extensive network because it is, of course, bigger. Three factors that form peer and friendship networks are social demographics, social selection, and mutual socialization. Social demographics, children are likely to come into proximity because the age of socioeconomic status and their ethnicity. Social selection, children construct their relationship with others whom are similar to themselves or whom they are attracted to. Mutual socialization, children become increasingly similar to their friends as they interact. For example, Jose is already in a clique that includes his two friends. They all dress alike, they like the same sports team, and they play the same video games. So that would be an example. Social play and games. So compared to early childhood when play was more often parallel or associative, school-age children increasingly engage in cooperative play. Although the cooperative level of social participation most often describes the group play of school-age children. So an example of cooperative play includes playing together in instructional games or fantasy with assigned roles. Play and cognitive development. This is Piaget's characteristics of play, which include functional, symbolic, constructive, and formal. Functional play occurs during sensorimotor stages. It involves repetitive motor activity like rolling a ball or laughing. Symbolic play occurs at end of the sensorimotor stage, and it involves creating settings and scripts. Constructive play is common in early childhood, and this is where the child uses objects or materials to make something. So this is where the creativity does come in, such as in building a block, or they say they're making a castle out of blocks. So that would be an example for constructive play. And we have lastly formal play, which is games with rules. They may be invented by the child. It involves social interaction as well as physical activity and rules, and may be played for a lifetime. So maybe hide and seek, where it involves rules, would be a great example for your formal play. Levels of play, focusing on social play, we have solitary, parallel, associative, and cooperative play. Solitary play is a child who plays alone or watches other children play. A parallel is a child who plays alongside with others. So as we can see down below where the two little boys are playing with the blocks. Associative plays is a child who plays in loosely organized groups. So that would be our top left corner where the children are playing organized in an organized manner. And cooperative play is when a child plays together with common goals. So that would also be focused on the one below left lower corner where their purpose or goal is to build some type of construction, castle, or even a house. Levels of play in the cognitive play um, includes functional, constructive, symbolic, and games with rules. So functional manipulates toys, explores how things work, while constructive includes child who combines materials or objects. Symbolic is a child who pretends or acts out stories, maybe such as a little girl who is cooking or acting out a role of a mother. And then we have games with rules, where the child follows rules and assigned roles. Next, we have our social skills. Social skills are socially acceptable learned behaviors such as sharing, helping, initiating conversations, and giving compliments that enable children to interact with others in ways that elicit positive responses and avoid negative ones. So we do have two types of social interactions, which could be pro-social and antisocial. Pro-social is the child who is helping and protecting. The antisocial would be a child who is fighting and bullying. Social skills that are pro-social generally strengthen or enhance interpersonal relationships. For example, children who are similar in levels of pre-social and antisocial behaviors are more likely to become friends than those who are not. Social skills discriminate between children who get along with other peers versus those who do not get along with peers. So this is why sometimes a child may show, like more positive characteristics or vibes versus the antisocial individuals. Causes of conflicts between friends. This is a good idea or subject to talk about because we need to understand why kids fight and that it is normal that kids fight. So some interactional conflicts are relationship characteristics, interactional condition, person characteristics, and extraneous characteristics. So international conditions is conflict is a result of a specific situation such as conflicting goals. So that meaning one child wants what the other one has, which obviously we can see our picture. Two children are fighting for the teddy bear. Person characteristic conflict is caused by the characteristics, attributes, or action of a specific person, either self or other. Like, so this one would be because someone is in a bad mood. Extraneous characteristic conflict is the result of factor unrelated to relationship. So most children attribute the cause of conflict with friends to specific features of the interaction rather than to individual personality characteristics of themselves and other friends as well. Social skills assessment. Um, the ability to resolve conflict is more important to maintaining pure relations and friendship in middle childhood. Varied techniques have been developed to assess and remediate school ages children's social skills. So it would a context approach to social skill assessment goals would be identifying behavior and skills, determine norms and expectations, analyze conditions, identify children's social skills, design interventions, and measure outcomes. So identify individuals, children's social skills in a specific situation would be designating interventions to improve children's social skills in the setting, measure outcomes in relevant social context. Social skills are usually assessed using parent or teaching um, rating scales, supplemented by structured observations of children's classroom behavior, attaining of school social goals such as successful conversation with other peers their age. It is important that we do train as well. So, method of social skills training in which an adult models and explains skills, then allows a child to practice them, and after that is provided with feedback and improvement. So, for example, a successful intervention program with a fourth and a third grader taught children cooperation skills such as taking turns, maybe sharing material, participating skills such as paying attention, communication skills, talking with another person, listening and validating skills such as smiling and offering encouragement. Other social skills training programs have delivered interventions through live or videotape models, play sessions with peers, social role-playing, and problem-solving tasks, and also help you coach or train. Lasting friendships, our favorite topic. Um, Lasting friendships may require a different set of social skills from one incidental peer interactions. So, to order to maintain friendship, children must conceive friendship, possess the disposition, recognize and respect, have the ability to self-disclose, to express, to be willing to help, to manage disagreements, and to recognize. Um, Conceive of friendship as a relationship that demands contract outside of contexts where children normally interact, like at school, and possess their skills for initiating contact with friends in the setting. And another example would be possess the disposition to be perceived as fun, resourceful, and enjoyable companions. Um, Recognize and respect that friendships require a spirit of equality. They must have the ability to self-disclose if they have to share intimate secrets with their friends. They, when it comes to expressing, to express caring, concern, and admiration and affection in acceptable ways. They are willing to help their friends if they are in need, or serve as a reliable partner as well. And they have to manage disagreements and know how to resolve problems and be able to forgive one another. Um, Recognize that friendships exist with a broader social context, including cliques and crowds. So our main goal to teach our children is how to get to a lasting friendship, and of course teaching them what it is they must do to hold a friendship like this. Family plays a huge role in middle childhood, and parents have an important influence on middle childhood and adolescents' values, attitudes, and behaviors. Parents' supportive behavior during middle childhood promotes adolescents' positive behaviors towards friends, whereas parents' hostile behavior predicts adolescents' negative behavior towards friends. Support from father is very important, and obviously parents do influence their children. Fifth graders who perceive greater support from their parents is an example of have higher friendship quality and greater psychological adjustment. Support from fathers in particular also predicted lower peer rejection and victimization. And parents influence their children through direct interaction, but also function as the main managers of their children's lives. So it is important that parents, moms, dads are involved in the children's developmental stage and early intervention with friendship. Well, thank you all for your time, and I hope you all enjoy my presentation. If you all have any questions, feel free to email me and I can give maybe a better explanation if you are not understanding a topic or need some sort of different guidance through understanding my presentation. Thank you all once again.